Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Startup Journey. Today's guest, I'm really excited to have her. Her name is Angela Negro. Angela Negro is a career coach, salary negotiator, procurement and supply chain strategist, a speaker, expert at business process optimization. She's the founder of the professional Careerist, a blog, and a movement focused on empowering ambitious professionals to pursue personal and professional development in order to achieve extraordinary career success. So now I want to hand over the podium to Angela and ask her to introduce herself even elaborately and tell us more about herself. So, Angela, welcome to Startup Journey. Please tell us more about you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ashish. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm actually quite honored and humbled to be here to share a little bit about my journey. So I am all of the things that you have said, and also a mom on the side and a friend and so much more. But as you said, I'm extremely passionate about empowering professionals to really take ownership of their personal professional development to achieve success. I believe that everybody has it within them to achieve the success that they envision for themselves. And honestly, this journey began for me probably about 10 to 15 years ago. My father had been laid off from his job, and he was the breadwinner for the family. And it was an extremely uncertain time for all of us. And I think that for me was the turning point where I realized that, it's no longer enough to just be an employee of an organization with a steady, 20 to 30 year career, that now you really have to take it upon yourself to continuously develop yourself, continuously pivot, change directions, get a wide breadth of knowledge and experience, and also to be empowered to understand how to negotiate your salaries, how to understand if you're in a good working situation or not, how to make sure that you're able to, withstand any kind of recessions, depressions and economies which happen and are completely out of our control. So that kind of was the instigator for this entire professional careerist movement that I began a number of years ago. And it evolved into a lot of mentorship and coaching for university and CEGEP students or college students here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So I've taken that on online, and I've now expanded that community to be across the world. Really, I have people in my community that are from all continents across the globe and who are interested in really becoming self-sufficient and independent in their careers, whether they own businesses or whether they work for somebody else.
Oh, that's marvelous. So tell us more about this industry. Like, when did you realize that there is a gap between some salary? So if you talk about salary, when did you realize that people are not getting paid what they should, and you should create this as a opportunity? You saw an opportunity in this market and build up your business on top of that. So tell us more about that market.
So honestly, it came just from casual conversations with people. Just talking honestly and frankly. I had a few friends and friends of friends just kind of, knock on my door and say, hey, I just was curious about this. What do you think? And when I learned about some of the salaries that these incredibly smart, talented people were making, I was a little bit sad and in some cases appalled. And it wasn't the fact that, they weren't or they didn't have everything that it took. It's just that they didn't ask, or they didn't push, or they didn't feel like they were worth it. And for me, that was the moment I realized that people need to feel proud about their accomplishments, and they need to feel value in their accomplishments, and they need to bring those forward and show people, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the value that I'm adding. And you kind of need to acknowledge that in return. I work hard for you. I put in a lot of effort, a lot of sweat equity. And at the same time, people should feel that they are worth being remunerated equitably. So that was really the foundation, was through conversations with people. And I helped a few friends and friends of friends bridge a gap in their salary. And then I got a lot of coaching clients that were just asking me to help them get to the next level. And in some cases, we even achieved a 50% increase in salary in just a couple of months. Just a little bit of work, looking for different kinds of jobs, asking our supervisors, presenting the case with the organization that they were with, and leveraging. It's all about leverage.
Oh, that's wonderful. You brought out a couple of good points here. Like one is people don't ask for the hike, or they just shy away from that. You don't know. People don't know what they deserve. And second point is you started talking to your friends, and then you help your friends, and then you got your professional clients who paid you.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us about the fact that if somebody's watching this, if somebody's watching it and is being underpaid, should he or she start looking for another job, or there are some strategies or tips which they can use to grow in the same organization they are today?
So I think that both strategies need to be employed at the same time for maximum effect.
And how does one approach in the same organization?
So within the same organization, I think you need to highlight the value that you add. So you need to take some time to just really look at everything that you've accomplished. And I always recommend to people who don't normally think about it or actually do it before they meet me, but I recommend that they keep a journal or a log or something where they write down what their accomplishments were, what the impacts were financially, or from the impact that they had socially. However the impact is measured, that is of value to the industry that they're in, they need to make a note of that. And they need to find and build advisors or allies in their organization. I instead of telling people find mentors, I tell them always to find allies, because allies are the people that are going to speak for them when they're not in the room. They're people that are going to vouch for all the hard work, all the benefits, all the value that they add when they're not in the room. And sometimes those are the most important conversations. So while they're employed at an organization, they bring forward the value that they add. They build or find and nourish these ally relationships at the same time, so that people can vouch for what it is that they do and how well they do it. And then that they present to the people that are able to make some sort of salary adjustment for them, that they present some sort of business case, that they say, look, this is what I've been able to do. This is the value that I add. This is how I know that it's valuable, because, this person has said ABC about it. It's been noted by this said person in my organization. And, having done my research, I know that the market usually remunerates people in this range, right? Now, that is the strategy within an organization. However, at the same time, you need to start looking outside of your organization, because within an organization, they might just dismiss it or be like, well, yeah, you're right, but we're not really prepared to pay that. This is the band in which you should be paid. But when somebody else outside of the organization is interested in your abilities, in the value that you add and are able to drive within your role, and they're willing to pay you more for it, now that's a bargaining chip. That's real leverage that you could present to your current organization and say, look, I really appreciate and thank you for looking into it. I'm kind of disappointed in the answer that you gave me, and saying that you don't really think that there's anything you can do, because in the market, I have received competitive offers that are offering me something a little bit more. In some cases, you may decide to stay. In other cases, you may decide to leave, but at least you've done your entire due diligence.
At least you have grown from where you were earlier.
Absolutely. Now you have so much knowledge.
Correct. Angela, I was going through your profile and I see that you started helping others almost 9 years back with this blog. So I'm sure when you started it off, it was not helping you financially. So as an entrepreneur, tell us about that. How did you survive that initial days, or how did you got your first paying client? I'm sure you've already told that you got it through your friends, but how did you convince somebody to pay you for your services initially? And how was the initial struggle?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So yes, I did start this whole movement about 10 years ago, 10 years ago. And yes, it was a lot of for free kind of work, but I didn't look at it as for free. I looked at it as an investment. where you try to help people and help people successfully, right? And the more people that were able to see positive results, then they were your spokespeople. So they became my spokespeople in the market, and they referred me to friends, friends of friends, business colleagues, and that has literally been what has built my practice. And I have to say that, during the day, I have my day job. So I do work a full schedule at CN currently in procurement and supply chain. In some aspect of that. And on the side, so evenings and weekends, I have a number of different clients that are asking for help on a number of different issues. So when you're doing all of this for free, it can be very difficult at the beginning. I mean, you have to look at it as a longer term investment. And then how do you convince people to pay you for it is by having a number of people that can recommend your services. I think that that's really key. You have to build that legacy, that the reviews. You have to build a base of credible experience with people that are going to refer you later on. And through that, slow as it is to start, it's worth a lot more in the long run, because word of mouth is still one of the most powerful ways that people can find others to help them.
Oh, definitely. In this day and age of uncertainty in terms of jobs, building your own brand or your own service and taking it, surviving it, or at least continuing it, will definitely give that extra edge for anyone who does that, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone should build their own personal brand, or have something, even if it is helping friends in some service. They can actually take it on to a professional level at some point in future.
Absolutely. And not only that, they can leverage that in the work that they do. Skills are skills, whether you're getting paid for them or not. They're still skills, and you can still transfer them.
True. Okay, Angela, tell us an incident where over 9 years, like some incident of your client where your services has benefited them, like just some incident which gave you the utmost satisfaction in terms of work satisfaction, that you helped somebody. So if you can narrate some incident from that.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I every single interaction I have.
I read that you help university students, so talk about that if you can.
Pardon?
I read that you have helped a couple of university students.
Oh, yes. So and that is and that's really a big focus of what I do, is I try to help university students anticipate what that transition to the industry or commercial world is going to be like. So a couple of times where I've helped university students is in establishing or building a strategy for when they start to look for a job. So in some cases, I've had students come to me, really at the end of the last year, final year, where they're about to graduate and extremely stressed about the prospect of having to look for a job. Sometimes the economy is great, and then other times the economy is not. So it can bear a lot of stress for people that maybe don't have a lot of money and really need to look forward to that next job. So it's all about helping them to just see all the value that they can bring, right? A lot of times people get nervous because they don't take a moment to just kind of sit with themselves and ask themselves, okay, what kind of awesome things have I done? And, surprisingly, people do a lot of awesome things, but they need to recognize it in themselves. So helping a number of different university students identify that and then figure out, okay, where would you want to go when you graduate? Give a couple of different types of industries you'd like to work with or in. Give me a number of different kinds of jobs that you'd like to try. Because just because you start a job when you get out doesn't mean that's going to be your job for life. But it should fit into the plan of your overall career strategy. So I always tell people, even if it's your first job, don't make it a bad job. Have it be something that you can leverage in the next steps of your career. So helping them identify what those things are. I've had a few people get the job that they've been dying to get, which is incredibly satisfying, especially from a university student's perspective, where They probably have very low expectations of where they're going to end up, and they have this dream job kind of concept in mind. And then helping them land that is extremely gratifying. And also in helping them establish their salaries, even for internships. Internships are negotiable, believe it or not. And so having the power in helping students realize that and helping them build a plan to be able to negotiate that and then having them be successful is also incredibly satisfying. My goal is just really to help everybody get set up for success from as early on in their careers as possible. So I've had a number of great clients, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Great, great. That's very helpful for university students that even internships can be negotiated. So, because
Absolutely.
most of them do it for free or almost negligible amount. So,
I know.
cool. Angela, tell us, like, since you have built your own profile and are now can sustain on your own brand, tell us a message. Like, there are so many people who are laid off or are going through some crisis, and they are almost at the edge of losing hope to
Right.
struggle in life. It could be financially, it could be personally. So from out of your learnings, out of your experience, tell us what message you have for all those like who are depressed in life.
So I think the first thing that you have to do, and it can be tough when you're working on trying to get to that next step and you just don't seem to be catching a break, is build out a plan. It always helps to have something on paper where you know exactly what you're going to be focusing on. You know exactly what's going to help you bring in some revenue, right? Because revenue is important. Everybody needs to put food on their table. And having that plan drawn out will help you just focus on the right activities. Oftentimes, we can get overwhelmed with the size of our projects, whether they're personal in nature or not. And I think that everything is achievable if you just break it down. So the first thing is not to panic, just to build out the plan, know what you have to work on, know where to focus, build your network around the things that you need to accomplish as well. You don't have to do it alone. I think that that's also another key piece, is that you don't have to do it alone. There's so much more power in numbers. So find people in a similar situation, get together, build out a movement or a small business that you can start generating income from. Find others that want to join this movement. I think it's all about helping other people. And if your overall goal, even in the business that you want to build and the brand that you're establishing, if it's about reaching out and elevating others, you are going to be just fine. So keep plugging at it and don't give up. Reach out if you need to.
Great. I think you brought up a very valid point that that which a lot of people miss out when they are starting out as an entrepreneur. They just don't have a business model. They don't know how to make money out of their idea or their business. They want to do world changing stuff, but they don't know how will you make money out of that.
Right.
So I think everyone should plan very carefully how do they survive on that first.
Yeah.
Great. Angela, one more question. In today's day and age, is there any shortage of opportunities in the world? Like if somebody wants to do something really and build up their own profile or become financially stable, tell us more about that. Is there any shortage of opportunities?
So I don't believe that there is a shortage. I believe in the law of abundance. Honestly, I do. I think that there's everything out there that you need to be as successful as you want. And I think that with the internet and social media, the opportunities are honestly endless. It's just understanding how you're going to go about structuring that idea, right? So it comes back to that business plan. And also it comes back to consistency. So by continuously approaching what it is that you want, you're going to get there. But you just need to make sure to keep reaching out to others. And I think that, kind of like what you've done, Ashish, and interviewing a lot of different people and building up your own brand, that is a great fundamental foundational way to start on building out that business case. Find what people like to hear from you. Find what it is that you do awesome, and just build on that. Build on your skills, build on your talents, build on what people appreciate about you. And in that regard, I don't think that you can go wrong, and that there will be a shortage of opportunity. Everybody has something to offer. So just find what that is and offer it.
True, very true, very aptly said. Thank you, Angela, for your time. All that you said would definitely help people. It would help people cope up with depression or any stress they are going through in life, and give them the extra boost. Like if you have done it, I'm sure it is possible. So
Thank
people
you.
will believe that it is possible. So
I hope
thank
so.
thank you very much for your time, and keep doing what you're doing and help more people.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ashish, and best of luck with this awesome initiative. I really wish you the most success.
Thank you, Angela. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.